I was a sophomore in high school when we first came into the truth, and at the time we were in Christianity. So being in high school and trying to find yourself, I was kind of looking for truth and trying to look for um, like I feel like there was more to like scripture, and so for me, I was kind of looking for something more. Um, and then one day when I came home from school, our parents showed us a video from Brother Yerushalayim, and when I first saw it at that moment, I knew that it was true. Like he was coming with scriptures and then like the history, so like all of it together, like I felt like I had found like a missing piece, like myself. And so um, at that moment, I was able to look at everything differently. I felt like I completely it's like you found a missing piece of yourself.
Um, Before we got the video, it was years before that, being in Christianity, it felt like there was things that were missing. So it was kind of discouraging because when you're looking for something but you can't like quite figure it out. But as we were watching the video, it seemed like everything was just falling into place and like all the pieces to the puzzle were coming together to make one big pretty picture. And yeah, it was just like inspiring, and it made me want to dig a little bit deeper to like figure out what else was missing.
So one of the biggest things that Brother Yerushalayim brought up was the laws, and so I think right off, I think the first thing that we stopped doing was eating pork. I think the Most High already like kind of had us um, lining up for coming into the truth because like we weren't really eating pork anymore. So that was a big thing that we had stopped doing. And
Some of us.
yeah.
I already stopped eating bacon.
Yeah. And so um, uh, I think that one of the hardest things though was being in school, cause like a lot of our friends like we had the truth, but like a lot of our friends didn't. So it kind of made us like naturally we just kind of just like a lot of people we wouldn't talk to anymore, only because like it's just kind of like I forgot the scripture, but basically we're set apart from everybody else. So at that moment we realized how different we were. So it was kind of harder to relate to other people at times, but that was something too. And
Yeah, even some of our friends even noticed the difference because of the way we carried ourselves after after learning the stuff that we did. We just changed things about us, like our attitudes, the way we carried ourselves just changed, and everybody noticed it.
yeah, even with like celebrating like the holidays, like Christmas and stuff like that. We had been celebrating it, but it wasn't. We weren't really as into it as we were when we were younger. So for us, it was easier for it to like kind of let that stuff go. So when the holidays did come around, like with our friends and stuff, like we'll just tell them, oh yeah, we don't really do that anymore. So it was kind of like a kind of a strange change, but it wasn't like we didn't really miss it. Like it's kind of like we found something that is actually ours. Like we have our own holy days and stuff that we keep. So it was for us. Like we really didn't feel like we were missing anything. It's kind of like okay, we have our thing. Y'all can keep that. So it was kind of like it was nice.
And like each year we found out, oh, it was another feast day. So it was like every year we had more and more feast days that we didn't know about that we could celebrate too. So.
And as far as like studying and stuff, we'll like at night sometimes like me, her, and my brother will just come together and we'll just like go over scripture, cause like really like we're finally like trying to figure out more like what we need to do, like what are we expected to do, like being in this truth and stuff. So we'll just like come together and we'll go over scripture and we'll just learn a lot of stuff that we really hadn't noticed before. And so that was another thing too. And we enjoyed the Sabbath days too. Like we didn't really miss our Saturdays because we were having fun, kind of like finding all this stuff, like what Christianity really was, and just things like that, like what the cross meant, like all the stuff that we used to think was right. Like we just kind of figured out like where it comes from and like why we shouldn't follow, like and things like that.
Yeah, and a lot of people didn't understand why we stopped, celebrating things that like Christmas and all that. But at the same time, if you look deeper into it, it's like, would you really want to celebrate that?
Like figuring out like what the holidays really meant and stuff like that. That was a big eye opener. That was another reason why I didn't mind putting that stuff.
Yeah,
you
it
know.
wasn't hard to do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so being in the truth, it's changed pretty much not only how I view certain things, but what I get involved with as well. For instance, like the type of music that I listen to, or like the type of like movies or shows that I would watch. Like basically knowing like what we know, like certain things from the Bible, you kind of like looking at it is different, like the type of messages that are in it. Like looking deeper into like the type of music and basically what we're exposed to on a daily basis.
It was a big one. Cartoons. I never had a good feeling about them, but after coming to the truth and just learning the stuff that we did, it was kind of like there were so many hidden messages in there, and they had just a lot in there that was just evil, and I just didn't just stop watching them. Also, like the way I viewed people, and also like the government, like the stuff that they try and
You mean like the government as far as like why the system is the way that it is? It's like once you know who the true people are, it's just kind of like you know why certain things are done, or like based on Bible prophecy why certain things are being done. Like you might hear things on the news and you think, okay, well that's kind of reasonable, or okay, that doesn't really matter. But like when you look deeper into stuff, everything is happening for a reason.
And it just so happens to cause chaos amongst everybody, like all the people. And it's kind of like, it's just all a distraction. You have to look deeper into their purpose of causing the conflict. Also just like knowing that there's a process to, which is a big part in almost every teenager's, life is getting into relationships. And there's a process to it that most people don't understand because they want to do things their way rather than, going, the way of Scripture.
Yeah, like this age is kind of like you're expected to be in a relationship or something like that. Like it's like, I won't really say mature, but you're expected to kind of be in a relationship at, a high school and stuff like that. But coming from Scripture and seeing how things are supposed to be done, it's definitely makes you look at it different, like how serious it is. It isn't just like like dating, like you're just with somebody for a while and you move on to the next one.
Type thing.
Yeah, until you find the right one. It's like a process, and knowing how important it is to follow that process as well, and as well as also with like as far as family and stuff, like we're already kind of like before we came into the truth of Christianity. There are always like things that we wouldn't do that the family would do. So it was already like we're already kind of different. But once we came into the truth, it was kind of like for them it was like, so what is that? So it kind of made things harder because we wouldn't do anything on the Sabbath. We weren't doing holidays. But it was kind of difficult to be able to interact with them because they really didn't understand it. But over time, they they'll change things so that we will be able to come. They wouldn't make any pork or anything like that. Or service pork or whatever the case may be, things like that. So that's always a concern, like when you're coming to the truth, like how your family will react to it. So advice that I have for a young woman coming into the truth is just to be proud and be proud of who you are. And I think it's important to embrace it, like, because we're not like everybody else. Like, there's certain things that we can't wear, Sometimes, like, being in the truth, it can be difficult at first, having to change so many things. But I just think it's important that you just realize, like, your value and, how special we are, especially, like, to the Most High. And so it's important to, like, if you like fashion, if you don't, like, maybe, like, like Jada, she likes to sew and stuff. If you can come up with really nice outfits that you can wear, and it shouldn't be seen as like a thing that you should be like concerned about or um, that is like a downer for you. Like just make it positive. Like if you like writing, focus on writing, things like that. Especially when it comes to being in a fellowship, you find ways to contribute. Like you have talents or you have certain things that you like to do. Just contribute to that, and it definitely makes it like being in truth really easy, and makes you happy.
Yeah, and don't think of it as it being like a chore. Like make it fun. Like spice it up a little bit. There's just because like there's guidelines doesn't mean that you can it's not like you can't make it fun. Like on Sabbaths, like you can turn lessons into games and do that with your family. Um, Going based off of apparel, like fashion apparel, it doesn't have to be tight and short for it to be pretty. It can be long and still be beautiful at the same time, and covering up all the areas that need to be covered.
As far as relationships go as well, like surround yourself with other people that are like-minded. That's important as well. Or even be an example around your friends that you're around. Like just like just sharing what you know, or just like if they ask you why you dress a certain way, just tell them why. You never know. Like you could be an influence on them as well. So and also, as well as like other relationships, as far as like boys and stuff. I know like coming into the truth or whatever, it can be hard to just like, well, I'm older now, so what's the deal with that? But I think it's important to know that it's important to focus on yourself first, and growing and just focusing on yourself, like what you want to do in life and things like that, or where you see yourself in fellowship, growing in a fellowship, or whatever the case may be. Just like preparing yourself for when that person comes, and not focusing so much on that, because it's important that you're ready when the Most High sends a person that's meant for you.
And you don't notice everything about a person, but the best person that knows you is your Father. So that's the best process to go through anyway.
Yeah.